can you get it from the federal exchange, assuming that in your state the reactionary Republican thug governor or legislature has failed to pass Obamacare. So they're depriving you of a certain amount of help. Not ideal, but it's way better than nothing. So the Republicans want to strip you down there and leave you nothing but your eyes to cry with. So we're looking, as usual, at the Rats Cabal: Roberts, Alito, Thomas, Scalia. We got reactionary judges in there. We've got fascist judges. Our approach: impeach Scalia. Hashtag impeach Scalia. He is one of the oldest, but he's also one of the most explicit. He has gone way out on many a fascistoid limb in writing his opinions. Gems like there is no right to vote in this country, stuff like this. He should have been impeached for some of these statements he made, quite apart from the opinions. But the wonderful device of impeachment applies to Supreme Court judges. How could it not? So I think we're looking at approximately 10,000 deaths if this procedure goes through and they strike down parts of Obamacare. So stay ready to mobilize. Now then, in terms of the Bilderberger Group, we're talking about Austria, and we hope to get a report. Let's see if we can do this in the next hour about what's going on. One extremely interesting thing is the willingness of the Bilderberger Group to essentially embrace criminals. They've got criminals over there, and I guess the leading criminal is General David Petraeus. He's a felon. He's a convicted felon. This is not a matter of opinion. He has pled guilty to a felony. A lot of people would have gone to jail for that, but of course not our dear Bonapartist General Petraeus. And he's got the money bags of Henry Kravis of Kohlberg, Kravis Roberts, and you know they even show up in the Bush biography. Like the father of Henry Kravis is a great friend of Prescott Bush, and an early backer, Mad Dog Bush the Elder, George H.W. Bush, whose 91st birthday was either yesterday or today. We'll talk about him too in just a minute. Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. So we've done the free trade story. We've talked about the Varese general strike. We've warned you of what's coming in terms of the Supremes, the Rats Cabal, where we've got to be ready to mobilize big time. If they strike down that bill, that law, that is now settled law, right? They settled it themselves. If they strike that down over a typo, that's going to be a constitutional crisis of the first order. So let's be ready to meet in the streets, because that's where it's going to have to be decided then. Now, Bilderberg. Charlie Skelton, friend of the broadcast, has been over there for the London Guardian. Now, this is one of those things that even shows up in the mainstream media, right? But here's a person who tells you what's going on and does not conform to the wishes of the London Guardian editorial board. And what we hear about is David Petraeus, as Charlie helpfully points out, a $100,000 fine and 2 years probation for leaking classified information. So that's one criminal. Then he talks about, Charlie talks about Rene Benko, Austrian real estate baron, whose conviction for bribery was upheld by the Austrian Supreme Court. And of course, Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands was a member of the SA Brown Shirts and SS Black Shirts. He was part of the Lockheed scandal of 75 to 76, when they had to turn it off for a year or two. HSBC, the head of that, Douglas Flint, regular attendee at Bilderberg, all along with Rona Fairhead and the bank's chief legal officer, Stuart Levy. So a lot of these characters are in the gray area. George Osborne, secretary. All right. So look, here's the one we always want to watch. Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel, who notoriously was a moneybags for Ron Paul, right? The leprechaun, Pellagra Paul, right? Who wanted to cut $1 trillion out of the U.S. federal budget, including 62% cut out of food stamps, which are necessary for the lives, the survival of almost 50 million Americans who need to eat dinner tonight and breakfast tomorrow and can't live under this so-called Austrian system. Now, any number of interesting observations here. There has been a meeting of little Rand Paul, the current presidential wannabe, with Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook and Peter Thiel of Palantir. That's his institutional home. And we're also told that there's a firm appointment of Rand Paul to meet with Peter Thiel after the Bilderberg group is over. What could it mean? And the question we all want to ask is Peter Thiel, the great seasteading libertine, is he pushing inside the secret councils of these smelly finance oligarchs? Is he pushing to get big bucks to try to put little Rand and the Southern Jurisdiction Scottish Rite Freemasons, right, the people who brought you Jesse Helms, Trent Lott, Strom Thurmond, and all the rest of them, put that guy in the White House? Is that the plan? And remember, there are some people at this gathering who are ultra-reactionary. A lot of them are anti-American for all the wrong reasons. You'd be amazed. A lot of them actually have Nazi or fascist skeletons in the closet, maybe their closet, maybe the family closet. Would that be a way to wipe out the United States? Would that be the revanche that some of these people have been dreaming about? If you put little Rand in the White House, that's revanche aplenty. Lots of Americans would die as a result of those killer cuts, those genocidal austerity plans. So we want to be looking into that. And of course, as Charlie Skelton points out, if you go to the group of 7 at Garmisch-Partenkirchen, they treat you rather well, as he writes. But if you go to the Bilderberg, then you're harassed. And these are actually quite close, right? Garmisch-Partenkirchen on the German side, and now over on the Austrian side, that's where they are. So we want to know about Peter Thiel, and we want to know about Rand Paul. And if it's not Rand Paul, then we want to know who else it is. Or maybe it's going to be Rand Paul for vice president, putting that guy a heartbeat away. And if you think that's abstract, look, the Republican Party, and we got to just talk for a second about Hastert the Bastard. Denny Hastert, right, the wrestling coach, turns out to be a pervert. He's a pedophile. That seems to be the story. Improper advances, improper relations with minor children when he was a coach, a teacher, and a scout leader too, as well. So he's paying $3.5 million in hush money, and then it comes out. So Hastert the Bastard. Hastert the Bastard was 2 heartbeats away, right, for a good long time, for a good 15 years, when he was at least 10 years. When he was, 15 years, when he was Speaker of the House. No, it's more like 5 or 6 years. Leave it at that. And remember, Hastert the Bastard was busy in those days. He's the one who set up the poison pill to destroy the United States Postal Service. Remember that they have to pay 3 years of future benefits in every year, unlike any other business we know of on planet Earth. But with Hastert the Bastard, they had to do it. And it also takes us back to the Mark Foley case of 2005-2006. And then that gets us all the way back to the infamous senator from Nebraska, right? The guy who's now in there, who was a tutor. He was a kind of an official and said yes. So all of those reactionary Republicans are heavily implicated. Now, Turkey, Erdogan defeated. This is welcome. Erdogan had become a megalomaniac. It was Erdogan as president and Davutoglu as prime minister. This is outrageous. When you watch all of these long-winded discussions about how to deal with ISIS, the number one thing to do, close the Turkish-Syrian border. Interdict, barbed wire. Nobody gets across. Not going north, not going south. Nix. You do that, you cut off the taproot of ISIS. They can't get money. They can't do trade. You're cutting them off. Turkey claims to be a NATO ally. Well, as a friend of Turkey, I'm very glad to see that the Turkish people have rejected this megalomaniac plan of Erdogan. He wanted to dictate new changes in the constitution, increase his unchecked power, and he's been defeated with the help of the Kurds, right? The Kurds are, in effect, earning the right to have, if not a country of their own, at least vast autonomy, right? Maybe a confederation with the rest of Turkey, if it comes to that, because they've essentially blocked Erdogan, and they've done a great service to the world public. Remember, your ultimata are Turkey, close that border, Saudis, Gulf Cooperation Council, cut off the money spigot to ISIS, and don't tell us that it's not happening. And of course, the U.S. should stop direct support, and the Israelis should stop direct support to ISIS. Now, Obama says 450 advisors. Well, we won't belabor the obvious. This is the language of Vietnam. Probably Obama's smart enough not to go all the way with that, but we'll have to see. So we'll be back in just a minute here on World Crisis Radio. Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Keep up with everything, of course, at Tarpley.net, Tarpley.net. And through Tarpley.net, you can get to Webster G. Tarpley Twitter feed. And with that, you have everything arrayed in pedagogical form. Now, we're going to be talking about Greece, and we'll be talking about Bilderberg some more in the second hour. Let's just wrap up the first hour, though. Let's talk about the situation here strategically in the Baltic. And this means we are currently living through here some of the biggest naval exercises that have ever happened in the Baltic Sea. This is called BaltOps, Baltic Operations, I guess. Started on June 4th, keeps going, or starts on June 5th and keeps going until the 20th of June. 17 countries are taking part. 49 ships, 61 aircraft, 1 submarine, combined landing force of 700 U.S., Finnish, and Swedish Marines, 14 NATO allies, joined by partners, Finland, bad, Georgia, worse, 5,600 troops. The head of this is a guy called Vice Admiral James Foggo III. Well, this is the guy who invented the Foggo of war, Foggo. I kid you not. So who's involved? Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Georgia, the country, Latvia, Lithuania, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Sweden, Turkey, United Kingdom, United States. Interesting, Italy not on the list. Italy had hosted Putin in Rome, right? And Pope Francis and Renzi. And the media acknowledged that there's a special relation between Italy and Russia, and there is. So this is a big deal with the 49, 50 warships, 61 aircraft, and this is not good. There's going to be another one coming up on the 9th. Well, it's already going on. From the 9th to the 19th, you've got Operation Noble Jump. Let's call it Operation Leap into the Abyss, right? Grand Hotel Abgrund, Noble jump.